Welcome, one and all. I'm Decoy, and today we're going to be talking Starfield. And I'm going to level with you. We're going to be a little bit all over the place on this one because I kind of want to touch on some things they did right, things they did wrong, shattered space, and beyond. So, maybe some things we could look forward to in the future. I don't know. But I will say this much. If at any point I say something you don't agree with, or you do agree with, feel free to hop down in the comments and let me know. I do read my comments, and I tend to reply most of the time. But let's get into it. So, leveling with you right off the bat, honestly, I had fun in Starfield, but it left me wanting. I did not have nearly as much fun as I had expected to have with the game. It was neat, but again, it left me wanting, which, generally speaking, there's the old saying, oh, you leave them wanting more, but this was like, I'll be honest with you here. You ever see, like, the food portions at, like, a really expensive restaurant, and you're like, oh my god, that's not even an appetizer. And they're charging what for that? I mean, that's kind of how Starfield feels to me. As I got a little bit of something tasty in there, but not enough to write home about. And honestly, I think part of the problem, and a fair amount of people will agree with me here, is that they focused on too much at once. Realistically, they needed to focus on, say, one solar system, or maybe a handful at most. Focus on a much smaller area and put all your effort into that. I'll even go so far as to say that I feel like space combat was a bit of an afterthought. I don't think when they started this journey, space combat was one of their primary focuses. Because I'll be honest, I've played quite a few space sims, and yeah, the space combat is just not up to par with the better space games. And I mean, it's by far not the worst, but it's nowhere near as I don't know. It's nowhere near as good as it should be. There's a lot of rough edges, and it really needed to round that off a little bit. And I'll take that another step further and say that I absolutely believe that shipbuilding was a complete afterthought. The shipbuilding mechanic is freaking horrible. I mean, oh gosh, you can't rotate parts every direction? Are you freaking kidding me? That doesn't make sense. Seriously, my brain has a bit of a meltdown going, what the heck? Like, some of these pieces, what do you mean I can't rotate it that way? What are you smoking? There's absolutely no logical reason I couldn't rotate this piece to go that way. Oh, this is so stupid. And you get frustrated with it, and that's just, that's shipbuilding for you. It also doesn't help that when you go about building things, if you don't build it a very specific way, you could end up with an ungodly maze inside your ship, especially when you start building large scale. So, yeah, speaking from personal experience, yeah, the shipbuilding, not completely user-friendly and not crammed full of as much functionality as it needed. So again, I feel like as they were building the game, they went, oh man, you know what people really liked? Oh, they loved building settlements in Fallout 4 and building camps in Fallout 76. We need to add a building mechanic to this game somehow. What are we going to do? Oh, well, maybe we put some sort of shipbuilding in there? Yeah, but how are we going to do that? I don't know. But let's just do some crap and see if it works. Also, on a side thought from that, of course you can own houses and stuff in the game, but I'm going to be honest here. I don't think most players give a crap about the houses they own. I mean, Why would you care, other than from a role-playing aspect, about building up a house full of crap when you have a ship full of crap that goes with you everywhere? So, I don't know. I feel like maybe there was some missed opportunity with the houses to give them some unique feature that enticed players to take advantage of. But overall, I don't know. It just seems like a whatever sort of aspect of the game. But either way, we got all those problems. Of course, you got like your fair amount of bug issues that, you know, plague the game, as well as like the story. I'm gonna level with you. They could have done way better. And technically, they kind of did do better when telling us the story of what happened before the game. You know, when you had big space battles with mechs and all that. Like, seriously? The timeline of the game, it should have taken place then. Because holy crap, that would have been a far more entertaining experience. Because, yeah, then you go work with factions, you help turn the tide of battle. All sorts of cool stuff could have came out of that. Not to mention running across the planet with mechs duking it out. And, the craziness that could have been had there. Completely missed opportunity. But now, you know, let's touch on Shattered Space. And again, I'm going to level with you. The only part of Shattered Space that seemed really friggin' good to me was the very beginning. On the space station. That was hands down the best part of that experience. Other than that, there was at least one interesting mission on the planet that I thought was pretty cool, but I'm not really going to go into that too much because I don't want to spoil that for anybody. But yeah, walking out of that, only two things really come to mind that I was like, oh, that was freaking cool. Everything else was just kind of more of the same old, same old. And again, back to missed opportunities. I really feel like they missed an excellent opportunity with Shattered Space. Not only to put way more effort into it and make it a much deeper experience, but oh my gosh, instead of, you know, reskinning enemies we already had or making a slight variant on an enemy we already had, they could have introduced new stuff. They could have had House Varun come into contact with some nefarious, intelligent alien species out there that could have just really shook things up and made it more interesting. I mean, something that would truly force all the factions to have to unite to work against a common foe. I know it's kind of an old story, but it would have been better. I'm gonna be honest. And then we would have got new alien ships, all sorts of new stuff. But yeah, I mean, maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. But dang it. I really want intelligent aliens out there. We have all these planets with different alien creatures on them, but we don't have any intelligent ones? What the crap? Alright, so now let's quickly divert back to the main game, at least briefly, with what I consider to be one of the biggest missed opportunities by a long shot. And a little bit of a spoiler in here. So, the main story revolves around, you know, there being multiple universes and being able to, you know, travel between parallel universes. And that is really freaking cool, except for the fact that, for the most part, it's all the same crap, which is ridiculous. I really feel like they should have hardcore leaned into the parallel universe idea, and maybe you start off and instead of, you know, one faction being on this planet, now a different faction's there. Maybe this one faction doesn't even exist anymore because, you know, they got wiped out. Maybe there's a new faction that didn't exist in the first universe. Really, you know, get into that and take advantage of that aspect of the game. Again, maybe I'm crazy, but I think that would have made for a far better experience So, again, missed opportunity. But now let's briefly touch on the future after Shattered Space. I'm going to be honest, I don't know how much effort they're going to put in going forward because Shattered Space really didn't do all that well, and a lot of players didn't come back for it. But, I mean, they did say they wanted to, keep working on the game and releasing content for like 10 years, like they said with 76. But it's also not the microtransaction powerhouse that 76 is in that sense. So, I really don't know, but I would personally love to see them double down, really focus on the player experience and delivering high quality stuff to the game. Not more of the same old Bethesda routine. Really try to outdo themselves. But I don't know, those are my thoughts. Hop down in the comments, let me know yours. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please remember to like, sub, and share. Later.